Calling the meeting to order, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Burke County Board of Commissioners regular meeting here at Tuesday, July 18th, 2023, held here at 6 p.m. I appreciate the good crowd here tonight, fighting the heat and the smoke. Madam Clerk, at this point I'll do roll call. Commissioner Smith is in attendance. Commissioner Burns is in attendance. Vice Chair Britton is on a mission trip with his church doing good work, so he will not attend tonight. Commissioner Carswell did attend, which is pretty amazing. He'll tell you why in just a second. And our County Finance Officer, Margaret Pierce, is at CE today. Our County Attorney, J.R. Simpson, is in attendance. And our County Manager is at that same CE in Wilmington as well, so he is not in attendance, but we do have our Deputy County Manager, Planning Director, Alan Glines, filling in for him very ably. So, thank you, Madam Clerk. At this point, I'm going to take a point of privilege and turn it over to Commissioner Carswell. We'd like to make a little announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Boys, if y'all would throw that picture up for me. As of 2 o'clock today, my 5th great-grandchild was born into this world. Her name is Memphis Shea Hightower. Her and her mama are doing extremely well. Her mama, most of you know, is my granddaughter named Bug. She teaches 4th grade over at Mull Elementary School. Just graduated from Appalachian State College last year. So, obviously, one more proud great-grandpa. So, I just wanted to introduce her to the world and to you folks that are here tonight. Truly, one of God's blessings is nothing more than when you get to hold a child like that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, my friend. Congratulations. At this time, I'll remind everyone in the audience to please silence their mobile devices. And I ask all speakers to activate the microphone at the lectern before speaking, or the gentleman up here before making motions, so that you can be heard on the YouTube recording. So at this point, I'm going to ask Pastor Keith Barnett from Bridge Worship Center Ministries International to lead us in the invocation. And please remain standing while I ask J.R. Simpson, our County Attorney, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, we just thank you today, Lord, for your blessings and your goodness and your grace. Lord, we come to you tonight and we just want to give thanks for the good things. We want to give you the thanks for the perfect things, for a healthy child, for a healthy, blessed life as well. And Lord, tonight we want to just ask you for the forgiveness of sins, for the many things of the past that, Lord, we thank you that you've done and you've forgiven us. As we come humble to you tonight, we ask you to encourage and to give strength to the mindsets and to the decisions being made, that, Lord, as we go forth, that we know that we're doing it in your will. They're doing it in your strength and in your encouragement, that, Lord, when they know that they can't stand on anything else, that they can stand on your word. And Lord, that you would give them direction and you would give them the provision for the vision. Lord, you would be able to give them an insight beyond what they see into what it can be, for the goodness of the people, the goodness of the community, for the blessed town and the county. Lord, we know that you're faithful and you're true, and we count on your word to be faithful and true. That, Lord, that through this and through them, that others will see you as they generate their decision and they say that that had to be a God move. And we thank you for that, Lord. And we pray over them and we ask you to bless over the city, the leaders, the law, the first responders, all that is part of this, God. We ask you to continue to have your hand over it. In the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor.
Please join me in the pledge of the flag. I justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pastor. Next item of business is approval of agenda. Gentlemen, you've had a chance to review the agenda. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended to include the addition of the December 5th pre-agenda minutes and to item number 5.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Johnny? There we go. So that will be 4-0. Madam Clerk. Next item is approval of minutes for November 15th, 2022, Board of Commissioners regular meeting, December 5th, 2022, Board of Commissioners organizational meeting, and December 5th, 2022, Board of Commissioners pre-agenda meeting. What's the pleasure of the board?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that motion carries 4-0. That moves us to presentations, and I see we have somebody pretty gung-ho in the back. Already visited a lot of the folks here in the room. This is presented by Caitlin Suttermeyer, our Animal Services Director. This is our Pet of the Month. Who do we have here?
So this evening, Pigeon cannot technically be our Pet of the Month, but she is here visiting with us today, and you guys are going to see why here in just a second. But I wanted to present Miss Sierra as our Pet of the Month. Pigeon's going to come around and see everybody. She's incredibly sweet. Sierra, she couldn't join us this evening. She's just a little bashful with loud noises, so she... Pigeon, come back. Sierra, she's just a little bashful with loud noises, so we didn't think she would do great in an environment like this, but she is working through those, so she is going to be ready to make someone a wonderful family pet. She's a young dog. She's about 2 years old, so if you're interested in adopting her, she is a little lab mix, and she does great with other dogs. She would love a family with kids, other dogs. She loves to go for hikes, but please do not take her to fireworks. That will devastate her. And we also have our Cat of the Month. This is Mr. Boots. Boots came in and he had a wound to one of his back legs that was treated, and he's healed up nicely, but that's one of the reasons why we called him Boots, because his leg was very swollen. It looked like he was wearing a pair of boots. But he's very sweet, so if anybody's looking to adopt a loving cat, he would definitely be a good fit for your family. I do want to let you guys know we do have a few events coming up at Animal Services. We have Read to a Dog, and this is so much fun. I even get in on the fun. It's great to see our kids out there reading to the dogs in our shelter. The adults get in on the fun. I think we have more adults attend this than we do children, even though it is geared for children. But anybody's welcome to come and join us. We have a lot of fun doing this with the library. And we also have our next adoption event at Hillman Brewing. That's going to be on our next slide. That's going to be from 12 to 3 on August 6th, so we're going to have some dogs down there available for adoption. So you guys come down, hang out with us. It'll be a lot of fun. The reason we brought Pigeon here this evening, which we'll start this video here in just a second, we had an animal cruelty case that was investigated back in March, and I don't know if you guys have got a chance to watch this video or not, but there were 4 dogs involved in this. Pigeon, whenever they got to the property, we didn't know that she was going to make it. If we probably would have waited 2 or 3 hours longer, we don't think Pigeon would be with us. And just full disclosure, every time I watch this video, I cry, so you guys bear with me, and we're going to present this to you guys so you guys can see her journey to where she is today. So that was Pigeon's wonderful story to where she is now. So yeah, when she came in, she weighed 17 pounds, was too weak to stand. With a lot of good nutrition and support. I think we stayed with Dr. Jenny until almost midnight that night trying to get this dog where she needed to be. And she's up to over 33 pounds now. So we're very happy with her progress and very happy she found a family. As always, there is some information on how to contact us if anybody's interested in fostering. Fostering saves lives, obviously, so we could always use fosters. Any adoptions, you guys are more than welcome to come down. We're open till 7 o'clock this evening. We currently have 22 dogs and 41 cats in our shelter, so we are packed out and we have a lot of great animals looking for new homes.
Gentlemen, questions, comments?
Can you repeat the number of how many dogs and cats?
Yes, we currently have 22 dogs and 41 cats.
It was a great video, and obviously found a great home. Looks like he's having a lot better time than I've been. So
I know, I want to live on the lake with a boat.
Looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Fantastic work. Anything else, gentlemen?
Thanks.
Well, then I'll recognize Sierra and Boots as Pets of the Month, and congratulate you on Pigeon, who's welcomed everybody in the room. And I'd encourage everyone to foster or adopt, and I also encourage spaying and neutering of your pets, please. And that'll bring us to item number 2, employee recognition. This will be presented by Caitlin again.
Yes, whenever I start this, I want to go ahead and welcome Miss Shannon Morrow up to stand with me. She's going to try to hide back there. We're animal people, so we're introverted by nature. So this is Shannon. She is a part-time member of Animal Services, and she serves as an animal care technician with Animal Services. We wanted to recognize her this evening because she has went above and beyond the call of duty, and we are really proud of this achievement that she has done. So she received a perfect score on her Shelter Behavior Affiliate application and is now a credentialed member of the International Association of Animal Behavior Consultants. The International Association of Animal Behavior Consultants, otherwise known as IAABC, operates globally with members in over 70 countries. They support the professional practice of animal training and behavior consulting and work with other organizations and governments to codify the standards of practice of animal training, promote animal training as a recognized profession, and to support industry regulation that forwards the humane practice of animal training. The IAABC also offers internationally recognized credentials in animal training and behavior consulting across a range of animal species and professional specialties. Ms. Morrow has invested many hours and her own money into her training and behavior career. The most recent program she has completed is shelter-oriented and will provide our organization with a new dimension and a mark that we've been missing. Ms. Morrow received a $600 scholarship for a 13-week program and invested 5 to 6 hours weekly in homework, in addition to completing skills videos and multi-week mentorship with a course trainer. The certification will allow Animal Services to tailor behavioral plans to increase adoptability, enhance the shelter's enrichment programs, offer support programs to the public and alumni adopters, staff education, and to reduce the average length of stay for animals. We hope that you would join us in recognizing Ms. Shannon Morrow on this prestigious accomplishment. I'll say one thing. The other day I was walking to the back to go do something back there in the shelter, and I saw Shannon out with a little dog, and there was a box, and she taught this dog to be a circus dog, and this dog in a matter of 5 minutes was learning to pose on this little box, so it was absolutely incredible to watch, and that's just a source of enrichment for our shelter, so we're really happy she's a part of our team. You care to?
Well, sure, yeah. So I would just like to say thank you to the county and the commissioners for supporting us in our mission in moving these dogs and cats who are in crisis into a better situation. Just like Pigeon, that's what we do. I would say that that's a part of God's work, and it makes me, that's why I do it. You know, I love what I do, and I love learning, and when I moved into going from training dogs in people's home into working in a shelter environment, I was like, wow, there's a lot that I need to learn. And I always want to be supportive in that way. And the other thing that I want to say is we have an incredible team. I don't know, you probably do know, but this is a wonderful leader. Caitlin and the rest of our team are doing everything that they can, and they're doing it right and well. So I've learned a lot for them, and I just appreciate everything that Burke County is doing to move us forward in providing better welfare for our dogs and cats.
Thanks, Janet.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Gentlemen, questions, comments?
Caitlin, I gotta ask, how did that dog get a name like Pigeon?
I cannot remember. There was a theme that we were going with all of the dogs. I think it may have been Lady and the Tramp. Is that a dog on Lady and the Tramp? Maybe. I don't know my movies very well. But Dr. Jenny named the dog. I don't know. But her new name is Polly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, if you'll remember, it wasn't that many years ago that we sat here, Caitlin, if you'll remember. We were in a very low place. We murdered a lot of animals in this county by no fault of this board, but by the fault of a lot of people that had no vision whatsoever and didn't understand what was going on. And many times that people don't agree with the things that we do, but I set my mind, Scott, if you'll remember, to make our Animal Services Department the #1 department in North Carolina. And the only way we could do that was to hire somebody that had love in her heart, that you do, Caitlin. That love in your heart has brought this Animal Services Center, along with Kay. You two, the dynamic duo, I guess is what I want to call you both, that you brought this group of animals. You have saved more animals' lives. We've got a lot of work to do. We're going to get there. We're going to build that new Animal Services Center. But it takes people like Mrs. Shannon Morrow. It bothers me when I see she spent her own money. She should have come up and I'd have loaned you some, you know. But when you come up and spend your own money to make the program what it is. So the people that work in our Animal Services Center, all of you volunteers, I don't have enough to repay you, but just like today, I'm such a blessed man, and you're such blessed people, and Burke County is so blessed to have people that care like you do. So we'll take care of Caitlin, and y'all keep taking care of the dogs and cats for us.
Thank you.
Extremely well said, Mr. Carswell. Well, on that note, I would like to congratulate Ms. Shannon Morrow again on becoming a credential member of the International Association of Behavioral Consultants. So that's fantastic, and I feel like Johnny too. I feel like I hate you have to spend your own money, but that's the dedication and love that you have for the animals, and all of you do, so we appreciate it. We're close, Johnny. We're a lot closer than we were. Thank you. All right, more good news. Item number 3, recognition of volunteer cleanup of Wilson Creek. I'm going to call my good friend Andrew Coda from Foothills Conservancy up, put him on the spot. And if you would, just tell us about the project and the organizations that helped you out, please, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Oh, yes, the red light. Is the red light on? Okay.
Is that on?
Okay. There.
Thank you very much, Chairman Mulvey, Burke County Commissioners, for acknowledging the work that our organization, Foothills Conservancy, does with our partners here tonight. A Clean Wilson Creek, the Catawba River Keeper, and Latinos Aventureros in protecting and also stewarding the natural resources of this beautiful place in western North Carolina that we all call home. I'm going to let Wes Wall with a Clean Wilson Creek describe a little bit about what we did that day and mention that although Wilson Creek is located in Caldwell County, it flows into the Johns River, which then flows into the Catawba River, which is an extremely important resource for our area of western North Carolina and for millions of people downstream of us. And before Wes says a few words about this particular project and effort, I'd like to recognize Brittany Watkins, who is our volunteer and engagement manager at Foothills Conservancy, who was our lead for this particular effort, who is not here tonight because she lost her father on this past Saturday. So, Wes.
Thank you. I'm Wes Waugh. I'm the Executive Director of Clean Wilson Creek, and I want to thank you again for this acknowledgement. Having community support and support of county commissioners involved in protecting public lands and doing the work we do is huge. The heavy lifting is massive. There's never been a time, I don't think, when public lands are as used in such an astounding way as they are right now. And as you can imagine, it involves a lot of person power to oversee and protect these beautiful watersheds. We, of course, think out of the 5 national wild and scenic rivers in North Carolina that Wilson Creek is by far the most beautiful. If you haven't visited, and those of you in the audience tonight haven't visited Wilson Creek, we strongly suggest you do so and take a ride up the 2.2-mile gorge especially. It's just one of the most beautiful places on earth. I suggest you also don't do it on July 4th or Memorial Day or Labor Day. But we have come together as partners, and that's very exciting. We were extremely happy to have this acquisition that Andrew and his group negotiated, added to the mile downriver in the Playmore Beach area of Wilson Creek, which has ended up being around 97 acres of new acquisition. This area, however, as we all knew, had been pretty badly abused for the last 50 years or so. It's been a dumping ground for tires, sofas, mattresses. So we gathered to make a dent in it as partners, and we did. We pulled out, with the help of everyone and a lot of vehicles and person power, we pulled out 256 auto and various tires that day. I can't remember how many pounds of debris. 14,000 pounds of debris. Patty's our excellent statistician there. So, you know, we're just making a start really, and we're going to be gathering, I think, in the near future to develop a plan, recreational plan, and to continue the work we're doing in this area so that in a few years, and it'll probably take a couple years, it'll be prime recreational use land. And we will continue our efforts to educate the public on how to respect public lands and to conserve and protect them better. That's a huge part. All these problems that we witness and challenges of public land work and wilderness work, they're very complicated problems and they're multifaceted. So it takes, you know, a team of people getting together like this to really address the issues. So I'd like to introduce just our team. Patty Mazzucato and Jim Calore work with the Clean Wilson Creek. And Grant works with River Keepers, Catawba Valley River Keepers. Latinos Aventureros in Las Carolinas, Sandra Aguirre, and of course Andrew. So we really, again, appreciate your help and would love to give anyone any information about how to get involved with any one of our groups. Anyone in the crowd tonight that wants to know more, volunteerism is always welcome, and we do training, orientation, and we try to be safe. But we greatly appreciate you taking the time and energy to bring us together tonight for this award, this acknowledgement. I have some decals too, folks in the audience.
Gentlemen, comments, questions?
I would like to say Wilson Creek's been a part of my life since I was a little bitty kid. I was a member of the Royal Ambassadors at church growing up, and I remember one year we had a photography contest, and it was who could go out in the community and take the most beautiful, memorable picture. I asked my dad to take me to Wilson's Creek, and I won a really cool Hot Wheels set from that picture. So thank you guys for all you do.
Yeah. Gentlemen, any other questions or comments? Well, then I would like to recognize Foothills Conservancy of North Carolina. Andrew, you know, we've had a long relationship, you and the board. We've been very supportive. You've been a good conduit to, or great conduit, you and your staff, because you know all of us up here, we're big on parks, trails, being green. I mean, this is a national treasure. It's not a local treasure. And without people like you, and it saves the taxpayer a tremendous amount of money by the volunteer work you do. If there's anything we can do as a county to help you out in any way, we're more than happy to do that, because it's your effort and love for the outdoors, and I have that common feeling as well. And I don't go to Wilson's Creek on the 4th or Memorial Day, or Table Rock or some of the others, but I go quite often. So I'm like Randy, growing up here, we've all been very fortunate. We sometimes can take it for granted. And so, and besides Foothills Conservancy, once again, Clean Wilson Creek, Latinos Aventureros, Catawba River Foundation, Wild South. I mean, these groups, and I love seeing groups work together. And a lot of times, and we see out in the community, sometimes groups don't always work together, but you're a lot more efficient when you come together as a group. And you have our heartfelt thanks. And before you step away, we would like to do a little presentation. If I could get the other commissioners to come down front, we'll get a picture today. Here into the center. Get on the side of it.
There's one for each entity.
So that'll bring us to item number 4, cooperative extension and 4-H updates. This will be presented by Spring Williams Bird, our cooperative extension director.
Thank you.
How are you?
I am great, thank you. A busy time of year for us with all the gardens in and all the fun stuff, but we just wanted to share a little bit about our update. So thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, and county staff and citizens for being here to learn a little bit about cooperative extension. Got to turn my clicker on. I asked them to let me play with it. I am Spring Williams Bird. I'm the County Extension Director, but we have a really good staff here in Burke County, if I can get it to work. Well, I promise it was working a while ago. There we go. Okay, we actually, here in Burke County, we have 18 field agents that actually serve Burke County. 8 of those are actually in our office, but then 10 are considered area staff that serve Burke County. And I'll tell you a little bit more. Across the state, though, we have over 1,000 agents. We do have a county office in every county in North Carolina. So we depend on a lot of other counties. So if somebody's on vacation or something and somebody has a question about their cattle, if our livestock agent happens to be out of town, we can give a call to another county or find that specialist on staff somewhere else in Raleigh or somewhere like that. So we do have this big group that it could actually be our local experts to help you with local solutions. So who we are in the Burke County office, we have ag agents. We have Damon Pollard is our livestock, forestry, and field crops agent. Taylor Campbell is our horticulture agent, our consumer horticulture agent. Then for foods and nutrition, we have Brandy Silver as our family and consumer science agent. Working with developing the leaders of tomorrow with our 4-H agent is Nikki Carpenter. And then we also have Tracy Hall as a 4-H program assistant working with our Empowering Youth and Families program. And then you'll see myself listed there as the Community and Rural Development, and I also do the administration. And then we have a great support staff team of Glenda Burgess and Dawn Snyder. And so those are our 8 that actually are here in Burke County that you can meet us at any time, and we'll work with you. One of the biggest things people want to know is, where does your funding come from in Cooperative Extension? Well, our primary funding comes from NC State University. When we say we're state and county, it's not state government, it's NC State University. We are actually through the university and in the higher education budget. So that's where we get a lot of our salaries, benefits, our travel, and that's where our research and information comes from. So anything that we're helping citizens with, it has to be research-based, and so it comes from the universities. And then, of course, the county government funding. Those 2 are our top priorities, and you help with our salaries and benefits, our operational costs, and of course our physical space and our beautiful building that anybody is welcome to come see the beautiful views of all the mountains up through there. And then we also have a lot of alternative funding. We get grants, donations from different groups, some organizations like Farm Bureau, different ones support different projects we do. But one of the most important is our volunteers. We have lots of volunteers through all of our program areas, and so their time, as you know, equals a lot of resources that we probably save through funding. So I gave you all a Rubik's Cube. So our theme is we are here to help solve problems this year. And we're here every year, but that's our theme this year. So I just wanted to hit a couple highlights of what are some of the ways we've solved problems. So since January in agriculture, for example, Damon Pollard, our livestock agent, he actually worked with a local producer that was having trouble. And I'm not going to read this whole slide because I know y'all probably already seen it. But was trying to figure out what was happening. His cattle were dying. And so they found out it was grass tetany, but he had started a mineral purchasing program. We've been doing that program for about 3 years and working with producers. And so that was able to help him identify what he could do, and he started purchasing through our mineral purchasing program. And overall, in the past 3 years, we've been able to save producers over $10,000 by doing that, because we're cutting out the middleman of getting those minerals straight to the cattle producers. In horticulture, another example is our new horticulture agent. She was going out to some of the farms and just seeing what they needed, and we had 2 new farmers that just moved to the area and wanted to start a cut flower farm, and they said we're telling her that they were getting ready to put all their seed in the ground. She said, no, you've just moved to Morganton. I'm telling you, you don't need to do that. They're going to be hit by frost. So they actually heeded her advice and did not plant till after she had mentioned, and were able to actually have flowers at the farmer's market now. So you can go check those out. That last week or so, they've had over 30 beautiful bouquets that you could go buy, but they're still coming in strong. So go visit them at the flowers at the farmer's market. She also, one thing that she had mentioned was getting soil sampling, and I did want to mention that. We offer the soil sampling kits that any citizen can come and get the soil sampling kits. If you don't know why you've got brown patches in your yard or why something's not growing in your garden, we can send out for a soil sample, and we can tell you what to add to your garden without just going and buying a bunch of fertilizer or lime. Next is our Family Consumer Science agent. One of the things that we found that was missing here in Burke County was from Extension, is working with our aging population. So she has actually stepped up and been offering a lot of programs at the senior center and working with them. And this little success story, I guess, is the air fryers. Lots of people got air fryers at Christmas and things like that and didn't know how to use them, especially our elderly. And so she did a class on how to use your air fryer. So that has been our biggest hit. They loved it, and so they're eating healthier and they know how to use that appliance now. 4-H, it's hard to pick one because they're so varied in what they do, but since we have some guests with us tonight, I'm just hitting on our one that we do with the schools. We do school enrichment, and this year we offered our 4-H embryology, which is very popular. We do it every year with our life cycles, but this year we had over 33 classrooms participate. And not only did it go into the public schools, but we also had J. Iverson Riddle, the School for the Deaf, who else? North Liberty, and several private schools actually brought this curriculum into their classrooms. They hatched quails, chicks, and butterflies, and got to see all that and learn about the life cycles. Some of the additional programs that we have is our Empowering Youth and Families that I mentioned that you'll hear a little bit more about in a minute. Our Steps to Health is nutrition education. And then we do lots of community projects like the fairs. We work with both of the county agricultural fair, well, the county one and the Drexel Community Fair, and lots of different community things that we're out there with festivals. But we also have, as I mentioned earlier, the 10 area agents. And they're in everything from commercial horticulture to water quality. And our commercial producers, they've worked with several of the vineyards around here, our orchards, and even the greenhouses and the nurseries. But most recently, I've been working with the water quality agent, actually came here to our county and has been working with the Industrial Commons project. We've got them involved in that. So at this time, I'm going to ask two of our youth to come up. One of the things I mentioned earlier is volunteers are important to us. Funding, but also as a big resource. And within 4-H, we focus a lot, y'all want to come up? We focus a lot on leadership and citizenship. And so we brought two of them with us tonight to let them share a little bit of what they're doing or what their programs are. And first I'm going to have Miss Emily.
Hello, my name is Emily Hall. Empowering Youth and Families is a fantastic family 4-H program. It is designed to ultimately prevent substance misuse before it begins, through knowledge and healthy behavior. EYFP aims to improve family relationships, communication, and listening skills. The program is designed for middle-aged school-aged kids and their families. It helps give new skills for making and being good friends. We learn about influence in social media. EYFP offers education in developing brains and good behavior. It includes making our own plated model of the brain. EYFP gives families good strategies for setting clear examples as a family and sticking to them. Healthy opportunities to providing stressful and risky situations. And essential steps to repair relationships, restore trust, and issues arise. The Empowering Youth and Families programs build a community outreach events that impacts our county and allows families to network with other families and local communities. After completing our program, 100 caregivers report they were able to discuss difficult situations with their youth. 80% of youth felt they were able to discuss situations with their caregivers. And 100% of the youth report they were able, probably not or absolutely not, to take a drug or medication that was not prescribed to them. EYFP consists of 10 weekly sessions and a weekend family retreat. It's a great time of bonding with family and preparing youth for a successful future of growing stronger, healthier, and more resilient family relationships. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Jacob Hamlin. I am a member of Burke County 4-H, and you heard a little about it before, but for those of you who may not be familiar with the 4-H program, it is the youth development piece of cooperative extension that aims to empower young people with invaluable skills and knowledge to become responsible and engaged leaders in their community. I have been in Burke County 4-H for over 13 years, and the experience I gained from the program has greatly impacted my life. I've gained valuable skills such as leadership, public speaking, teaching, and many more. I've had the opportunity to give speeches, attend national events, and mentor younger members thanks to this wonderful program. I come before you today to update you on the status of Burke County 4-H since the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic affected many aspects of our lives, including our 4-H program. Throughout 2020, we, of course, had a significant decline in membership, participation, and engagement. We began holding virtual meetings and workshops and events to ensure that our members could still learn and engage with one another while staying safe. It was more difficult to build excitement for these programs than it was for our in-person programs that we've had in the past. Excuse me. The 4-H slogan is learn by doing, and that's a very difficult thing to achieve it's very difficult to achieve a hands-on learning and experience through Zoom meetings. To overcome this, we began making grab-and-go kits and Discover 4-H boxes to continue providing youth with a hands-on learning component through Zoom. Since then, building the program to where it once was has been a long process. Despite the challenges, we have made great strides forward. In 2022, 1,032 Burke County 4-H youth participated in camps, workshops, school enrichment opportunities. 114 volunteers helped with Burke County 4-H programs and activities, and we have continued growing with more school enrichment activities and new 4-H members. While the pandemic presented us with many challenges, the Burke County 4-H program has remained strong and resilient, and we are excited to continue to innovate and find new ways to serve our community as we move forward. Thank you.
So both of these 4-Hers are planning to participate in the Youth Voice Conference that's coming up in August, which is also your state commissioners meeting. And so we're very proud of them. And at this time, if you have questions before we leave, if you could have your picture made with them, because they do have to present that at the state commissioners meeting in August.
Read my mind, absolutely. Gentlemen, questions, comments? All right, let's go down front, Kay.
Thank you. As they're coming up, I'll just mention these are some of our other 4-Hers that are participating in the team program. And then also our Sophia is our summer intern.
Mr. Chairman, if I might say one thing.
Yes, sir.
Spring, thank you very much for this. And I'm really glad it's a stress ball because I've been really stressed trying to figure out how to turn it.
Thank you. Gentlemen, what's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion we accept the reports as presented.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. That's 4-0, Madam Clerk. Thank y'all. Great presentation tonight to everyone that was here, so thank you. At this point, scheduled public hearings, we have none, so that'll move us on to item number 8 on the agenda, informal public comments. I'll now open the floor for informal public comments. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody wish to speak?
We sure do, Mr. Chairman. We have 4 speakers that have pre-registered. First one is Jeffrey Howard.
There we go. Thank you. Jeffrey Howard. I live up NC 181, just past Oak Hill Elementary. It's a pleasure to be in front of so many familiar faces and friends, and I appreciate the board for your time, your service, and dedication to our community. I'm actually here as someone who's involved with Burke Coalition for Reconciliation, a name you should all be familiar with by now. And those of you who don't know, we are meeting regularly to help heal the racial divisions and continual injustices that persist in our community. And that includes a white supremacist symbol in downtown Morganton, which is the Confederate Monument. And through the past few years, there have been many people who have come and spoken here. There's not much more I can add to their leadership and heart for justice. Tonight we had some 40 or 50 of us meeting to read and talk about the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from a Birmingham jail, which I recommend each of you read if you haven't already. There's just one piece of that I want to share with you. And there's a point, this letter, Reverend King is bemoaning the obstacles to justice. And he says he almost agrees that the conclusion is, it is not the KKK, it is not the outward white supremacists who are the greatest obstacle to justice. It is the white moderates, as he says. And that is those of us who accept the status quo, who maybe are not affected by the injustices, who don't have to see a statue telling them they are less. So I hope that you will continue to take this into your hearts and hope that you will become the leaders we need you to be to help create a more equitable county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Madam Clerk.
Gwen Veazey.
Is it on? Yes. It is. I'm Gwen Veazey. I live at 103 La Bellevue Street in Morganton. Good evening, and thank you for your service. I'm here as a representative of the Burke County Democratic Party to read our resolution on the Confederate statue adopted at our annual county meeting. Whereas the Democratic Party is committed to freedom, fairness, human rights, equity, and responsible government, and strongly supports the multicultural programs and institutions that have established our state's stature in the areas of arts, theater, music, folk life, and historic preservation, excluding the preservation of those symbols that denigrate the core values of our party and humanity. Whereas the Confederate statue monument on the Burke County Courthouse property has become a symbol of the Confederate cause, the cause of rebelling against the United States and its Constitution to maintain the enslavement of human beings. Whereas the Confederate statue monument's symbolism of slavery cannot be separated from its supporters' claims that it only stands to honor Confederate soldiers who have fought and died in the Civil War, and whereas no balance can be achieved by placing new monuments honoring veterans of other wars on the courthouse square, because those are honoring veterans who fought for the United States, not those who fought against it. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Burke County Democratic Party, BCDP, 1, align with our party's commitments to freedom, fairness, human rights, equity, and responsible government by taking a stand against symbols that denigrate the core values of our party and humanity. 2, that BCDP should make a public statement opposing any symbol glorifying the Confederate cause. 3, that BCDP recognizes that memorializing Confederate soldiers does not need to be on public courthouse property, which represents all the people of the county, some with enslaved ancestors. And 4, that the Confederate statue monument should be moved from the courthouse square to a cemetery or a historic battlefield. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Veazey.
Jean Googe.
Thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak. My name is Jean Googe, and I've lived here in Burke County right about 40 years, and I've pastored one church now for 42 years. And my purpose and my reason for being here is a little bit different than what I've already heard. My purpose is not to remove history, and it's not to clean up Wilson Creek, even though I'm 100% for that as a boy running around up and down the creek. It's not even to save the animals, even though I love animals. I'm an animal lover. But my purpose here is to save our children. Our children. Our children are being groomed, and sometimes by pure evil, and sometimes good people have absolutely no idea the danger and the damage that is being done. I saw the picture of your great-grandson, great-granddaughter. Precious. I've got one great-grandson, and I'll guarantee you, you would not want somebody to come in and recommend, make available pornographic material for your children, grandchildren, or your great-grandchildren. And I'm here, my purpose is so simple. I'm asking for help from the Burke County Commissioners to help us, to encourage the Burke County School Board to write a resolution or to pass a policy removing all pornographic books, sexually explicit books, recommended reading by teachers out of the libraries of the Burke County school system. Jamie Wyckoff made a list here, and I've got a copy for each one of the commissioners. If I can give it to you, take it home and read it. Got a website there that you can pull up the entire issue that we're talking about. But we're asking that these books be totally removed. We've been working now for 2 years trying to get the books removed, talked to the superintendent, a couple of school board members. Even though they are for removing them, very little, and almost nothing has been done. And I learned from the last time I went to the Burke County School Board meeting, which was 12 o'clock, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, they will listen to you. They will listen to what you say. I learned that. That's why I'm here today. If you tell them and encourage them to pass a policy or a resolution to totally get rid of pornographic, any sexually explicit book in the library or the classes, and if they do not deal with the situation, then you have the right to withdraw funding. And I heard from the meeting last time that there's a lot of funding go to the school boards. And I'm encouraging, we're needing help. I don't believe Burke County citizens want their tax dollars to go for funding, supporting or encouraging children to read pornography, or defending it in court. A battle is coming. And I do not want Burke County to have to go through court defending pornography. I cannot read this. Matter of fact, a Burke County School Board member told me I could not read that. He would cut me off. They would cut me off. Why is it so bad that you can't read this in a Burke County School Board meeting? Y'all would turn me off here if I was to read this material, but yet it's recommended reading in libraries and classrooms right here in Burke County.
Thank you, Mr. Goodwin.
Gentlemen, we need your help.
If you will, just hand any materials to Madam Clerk. Thank you, sir.
Carla Kincaid.
Good evening, Carla Kincaid. I live at 1276 NC Highway 126 in Morganton, the good community of Oak Hill. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the county commission as far as you being involved in the reconciliation process and advancing in confronting racist symbols So to truly advance the racial equity as far as Burke County leaders is concerned, I just had a few points to make. I'm not sure how much training you guys go through as far as diversity training throughout your careers as county commissioners. But I know that on January the 6th, which we can all remember, of the insurrection that breached the U.S. Capitol, we really gasped at that sight of a man swinging a Confederate flag outside the Senate floor, an act that the Confederate soldiers couldn't even do during the Civil War. We still got a lot of challenges as a community, as a state, as a nation, and we sit up under the symbol "In God We Trust," and we can go all the way back as a people and read and remember some of the things that we've learned as a segregated school, and as we read and continue to study our history, how the Bible was used. And as we are in our churches each Sunday, I know a lot of people have made some comments and little jokes about how religious we are, how spiritual we feel. Well, those things don't go away as they're passed down through generations and generations. And yes, we have a Confederate statue. It's not that it's where they are and where they were built after slavery, and we've heard that was ended. They were built on courthouse squares, and it was built on the courthouse square by the Daughters of Confederacy with the push of it. We all know that story, and some of us do and some of us don't. Maybe those that are listening, you know, and some of them, these people that are here today. But we know that those statues that were built on the courthouse square was more significant because it was to intimidate. It wasn't for heritage. And that's why we push forward on this. And like I've said in the past, it doesn't matter whether they come down or not. It's not our jurisdiction. We know that in God we trust it. That's who we trust, because that's who's eventually going to carry them down one way or another. But I'm going to continue to stand. I'll continue to stand. I'll continue to work in the community. It's not the only thing I do. That's not all that I do is get up here about this. I'm working in the community as well and other things in reference to, for reconciliation, doing things in the community I think would be good for the youth. And I don't want youth to say later on, why didn't somebody do something about it? Because I've heard that as well in the community. Thank you for your listening ears. Hope one day that, you know, you guys will decide as a county commissioner board to do something about it as a community leaders.
Thank you, Ms. Kincaid.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
That's all the speakers. This time I will close the informal public comments. We'll move on to consent agenda. I'll ask Alan Glines, our Deputy County Manager and Planning Director, to review these items, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have a report from the clerk. It's an appointment to the Animal Advisory Board. The Tax Department has provided a release refund report for June 2023, and the Tax Department has also provided a tax collection report for June 2023, and that concludes the consent items.
Gentlemen, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. That is 4-0, Madam Clerk. All right, this moves on to section 4, items for decision. DSS Medicaid expansion personnel needs. This will be presented by our friend Corey Fisher-Wellman, DSS Director. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How are you guys? This thing. There's a presentation that needs to be put up. Well, hopefully while they're looking for that. So the point of why I'm here tonight is to talk a little bit about Medicaid expansion and then the impact it's going to have here in Burke County and then the needs that'll impact our local DSS.
Corey, you're always welcome to talk about that next item.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and get started. Just a little bit of background. Obviously, Medicaid is a federally funded insurance program. Designed for people living below poverty. It was designed primarily to serve low-income children and elderly adults. Each state has a unique Medicaid program that is approved by the federal government. And in 2012, the Affordable Care Act called for the expansion of Medicaid. And the Supreme Court eventually ruled that states cannot be forced to expand Medicaid. So I believe initially there's about 26 states that expanded Medicaid. Since that time, about 13 or 14 more, and in March of 2023, we became the 40th state to sign Medicaid expansion into law. So obviously House Bill 76 was passed by both the House and Senate and signed by Governor Cooper to expand Medicaid. In order for that to take place, 2 additional steps have to be taken. The first and most important is the state must pass a budget, and then our Medicare plan must be approved by the federal government. So Medicaid expansion could go live anytime from now, through the end of the year. And just a little bit about what we expect the local impact to be. We expect a little over 6,000 additional citizens to be eligible for Medicaid through this expansion. That's primarily folks that are 19 to 64, working adults that are living 133% below the poverty level. This would be about a 19% increase over our current Medicaid caseload that is just below 28,000. So obviously, in order to meet the needs of 6,000 additional people and the countless others whose application we will have to process, we're going to need staff. So we have spent a lot of time, looking at the numbers, looking at what's the best way for us to attack this, and we've come up with a phased approach, with the first phase including 7 additional positions, which would have an operating cost of about $460,000. The state has worked hard to identify and provide counties upfront money to help offset those costs, and Burke County has already received an allocation of about $300,000, and we'll be continuing to receive monthly allocations to help fully offset the cost of these positions for at least the next 2 budget cycles. And just a little bit about how this would impact us at an agency level. These are brand new rules that we have to train our staff on, so that's a significant amount of training on a new model. When you have new staff doing a new thing, there's obviously a lot of quality control, so we'll have to review 100% of these cases. And some of the other steps we're attempting to take right now is we want to start recruitment immediately through, Medicaid is being expanded across the state, so there's 100 counties trying to hire these same folks. So the quicker that we can get these positions posted and start getting these people in here and really work to get them trained, the further ahead that we'll be. So just kind of a summary, we expect about 6,000 additional eligible citizens. In order to prepare to meet these needs, we're requesting 7 additional full-time employees along with the associated equipment cost, and all these funds will be offset by DHHS grants and monthly reimbursements. And this just shows the net zero impact on the county. So our request is to add the additional 7 positions and to approve the budget amendment that's included in your packet.
Thank you, Corey. Gentlemen, I've had a chance to review this information. May have some questions for Corey. Questions, comments?
I want to reiterate for everybody out there that the state is providing the money for these 7 additional positions. There's no impact on the county for at least 2 years. Am I correct?
That is correct, and there's expected to be continued there's always a reimbursement rate for Medicaid position, but we expect continued increased reimbursement rates even beyond that 2-year period.
And the state is requiring this. We're an extension of the state, so we really don't have a lot of choice in the matter either, do we?
We are required to establish eligibility in the
Thank you, sir.
mandated timeframes.
Thank you, sir.
Pretty common occurrence from the state. That is, as extensions of the state, we often, in every department's affected this way. We don't have a lot of choice when they say, do it. Well, we can't say no. Right. And so we have to staff appropriately, obviously, for 6,000 new folks. And just having 7 is pretty amazing. You won't be able to juggle with that. Randy, I think you may have a question.
Yeah. How confident are you that these 7 people are out there?
I'm fairly confident. I think, you know, a lot of hard work has been done by you guys to help support us, and our turnover has really leveled off. And I think I checked today. I think we have posted these positions knowing that they wouldn't be able to be filled until after this if you guys were able to give them to us. But I think we had 8 total positions, and 6 of them were these. So I think I'm confident that we can work hard to get these positions filled. I mean, I think it's a challenge, but I'm confident that these folks are out there.
Corey, how many open positions do we have in DSS period at this point? I know we've stopped bleeding, but
I think 8, 0 in child welfare, which is
wow,
which is a miracle, and 8 with 6 of them being related to this. So
in your tenure, because you and I've talked for a long time, what's the most openings you've had? Just a ballpark.
Oh, definitely in the 20s, maybe over 30 at one point.
So attrition rate has gone down remarkably.
Absolutely.
Because for those of you that don't know, we were suffering from across all departments on average a 33% attrition rate, which if you run a business, any type of business, is horrible. And so, you know, we're basically the training ground for other counties. We've all talked about this, and this is just another form to do it. But as Phil said, you know, we don't get a lot of choice on this, and we've had to be aggressive, especially with our budget, to address these needs, because it costs us a lot more to train these folks and then send them to Catawba or Gaston, who are paying them more, then we have to retrain them. So never-ending downward spiral. And so what we've done is, I believe, and Brian, Mr. Epley's not here today, maybe Alan knows, I think our attrition rates dropped to about 12% as opposed to 33%. And I'll get that number out. But so, and that's just in the first 6 months of the year we've been able to stay that up. So that's, I'm glad to see it's mirrored in our tougher departments as well. Mr. Carswell, anything?
As we're all aware, that Medicaid expansion has been in the General Assembly at their behest for the last several years. A lot finally came down to Senator Berger and his crew deciding that they wanted to move forward with Medicaid expansion, which is nothing but a state mandate for us. We don't have any choice. It comes down to us. An additional 6,200 more people is tremendous, but we're going to have to make sure that we do not stop pressing the General Assembly in the after 2025 that they need to be the ones paying for these programs. We've paid for the DSS program for the state for way too many years. So I'm okay that we're able to get the money from the state to 2025, but I worry about after 2025. So I hope we continue to work with our current legislators to make sure that as they move forward with new bills in the upcoming General Assembly, that they make sure that Medicaid expansion is paid for by the state instead of the county. We pay our share of it like we should already. That would be my comments. And also, Mr. Chairman, I go ahead and make the motion to approve the addition of 7 new DSS positions: IMS2, IMS3, IMC3, IMC2, 3 times, and a PA4, necessary for the increase in eligible recipients as a result of the expansion of Medicaid and approved budget amendment number 1.
I do have a quick question. I've toured your facility, and we have people in closets now. What's your plan going forward with these 7 additional positions?
We have a couple of moving parts. We've moved some of our adult, we're working towards moving some of our adult service folks in with our other adult service team, and then working on kind of readjusting where our front desk is, and that we believe will open up at least 7 desk space.
Mr. Smith?
Yes, sir. The time frame of this, did that start 1 July 23 and it runs through the 2 years up to like
So Medicaid expansion
fiscal year 25?
in terms of
The paying the people.
money.
I guess
So we-
what I'm asking is,
sure.
if we don't hire 7, let's say you only get 5, you roll the dice and you only get 5, what happens to that extra money?
So the money that has been allocated for Medicaid expansion has to be used for that. If it's unspent, we would have to give it back. I mean, but we have received, I think there was 2 lump sum allocations I think we have already received, and then there's monthly allocations moving forward, but it is designed specifically for Medicaid expansion.
All right, gentlemen, we have a motion on the table. All those in favor of Johnny's motion signify with uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that carries 4-0. Corey, thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Great presentation. Gentlemen, that'll bring us on to the ordinance to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages before noon on Sundays at licensed premises.
Thank you, Chairman Mulwey, members of the commission, members of the public. Governor Cooper signed the brunch bill on June 30th, 2017, which enacted a series of new statutes authorizing cities and counties to adopt ordinances to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages beginning at 10 a.m. on Sundays. And in the absence of such an ordinance, state law prohibits the sale of or consumption of alcoholic beverages before 12 noon on Sundays. In July of 2017, the Commissioners adopted Resolution Number 2017-17, which asked the Board of Elections to conduct a countywide alcoholic beverage election for sale of malt beverages, unfortified wine, mixed beverages, and operation of ABC stores. Burke County voters approved the measures during the November 2017 general election. Later, Glen Alpin, Valdez, Morganton adopted ordinances allowing alcohol sales at 10 a.m. on Sundays in the fall of 2017, and Connolly Springs approved it on December 4th, 2017. As of June 2023, the towns of Drexel and Hildebrand have not considered the brunch bill for themselves. On December 19th, 2017, the Commissioners adopted an ordinance allowing the sale of malt beverage, unfortified wine, fortified wines, and mixed beverages in Burke County beginning at 10 a.m. on Sunday. However, the vote was not unanimous. Therefore, a second reading and vote was required per state statutes 153A-45. The ordinance was considered again on February 18, 2018, and it failed to receive a majority of vote on that second reading. Since 2018, businesses in the incorporated areas of the county have had a slight advantage over businesses in the unincorporated areas of Burke County, and so adopting an ordinance would rectify that disadvantage. So that's the item for consideration. I know we don't have a full commission tonight, and so it'll be up to the board about next steps.
So gentlemen, questions, comments on this? And we will have a vote, and since Commissioner Britton could not be here, this will be even after our vote carried forward to the August meeting, for your information. So gentlemen, what's the pleasure of the board?
So this will be up again in August?
Yes, because we don't have all 5 commissioners in attendance, so this specific regulation will have to be voted on by all 5 commissioners. But tonight we will hold a vote.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2023-09.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Those against? It's 3-1. Commissioner Smith dissenting, man. All right, this brings us to reports and comments. We'll start with our county attorney, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since the last meeting of the board, I've been working with General Services concerning existing right-of-ways in the Rollins Avenue area and have prepared right-of-way agreements for residential extensions of water. I have completed an option agreement for BDI and have been working with BDI concerning changes and additions to that agreement. I've reviewed documents and worked with the county manager concerning a personnel matter which was successfully concluded. I have reviewed documents, researched, conferenced, and assisted the county manager in issues of a contractor's secured transaction liens and its effect on county property and payments. I prepared and reviewed a subordination agreement for the county to facilitate the refinancing of debt by Unix and AC Morganton LLC. I've worked with the county department concerning a claim of copyright infringement. I have received and reviewed 12 tax appeals filed with the North Carolina Tax Commission by 6 county real property owners. I've attended the county attorney's summer conference in Asheville on July 7th and 8th and have researched the changing of conditions on a deed of gift from the county to a 501c3 and the restrictions concerning that, and have reported back to the commissioners. That concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. 2 quick things. One, I wanted to give the tax department a shout out for what I thought was an excellent tax collection report for the year ending June 30th, 2023. And I also wanted to let you know that we have been invited to Reason's annual meeting that will be held on July 25th at 6 o'clock at Foothills Higher Education Center. Reason is the spay and neuter folks, and they want to share what all they've done this past year. And that's all I had.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Lyons.
Thank you. No reports at this time.
Commissioner Smith.
I would like to ask the listeners and the people in the audience if they would have a word of prayer tonight for Reverend Jerry Gamble at Mount Home Baptist Church. The last report I got, he's Jeff's preacher, and mine too, that they had pulled life support. So we're praying for him. We hope that you'll keep him in your prayers. He's about the godliest man I think I've ever met. Very, very good person. Been at Mount Home, a fixture in Burke County for at least 50 years as a pastor at that one church. That's almost unheard of. But please keep Reverend Jerry Gamble in your prayers.
We will. Great man. Thank you. Mr. Burns?
Yeah, I mentioned in the last meeting in our closing remarks that I was planning to do a ride-along with the Sheriff's Department. I did that. Actually stayed the whole shift this past Friday night, and I rode with Officer Dylan Hudson. And I got to tell you, what I saw, it was emotional. It was a roller coaster all night. I saw kids who got on the phone and called the Sheriff's Department because they were afraid Mom and Dad were going to hurt each other. And watching the interaction between that deputy and those kids that's the thing that brought me back. It was heartwarming. Those guys do a tremendous job out there for us day in and day out. And I just want to personally and publicly thank our law enforcement for what they do. It's a thankless job, and I can't imagine what they and our EMS folks go home and put their heads on their pillows every night and think about. So while you're in prayer tonight, if you'll think about them, I would appreciate it.
Well said, Commissioner Burns. I'm glad they didn't put you in the back of the car.
I will say they did throw me out one time.
Okay.
They got a call that they determined I couldn't go on, so I spent a little while at the service station.
Just one. Commissioner Carswell.
I'd like to take a moment to recognize our 911 center last week. The Secretary of 911, State 911, visited our facility, and nothing but just total accolades again for a premier design, strategically run 911 center in the state of North Carolina, and we do appreciate him stopping by, spending several hours, matter of fact, over at the 911 center. So again, just kudos to the staff that's over there. Our 911 vacancies were down again to 2, so we're doing extremely well over there. Have a lot of more mature folks that have been there for a while, training younger folks. We actually have an 18-year-old working over there, so kind of surprised to see that, but she was very excited to have a job, especially at the 911 center. So kudos again for those folks over there.
Thank you, Commissioner Clark. This time I'll remind everyone, a few courtesy reminders. August 1st pre-agenda meeting is canceled. That way more of our folks can go on vacation. And August 11th and 12th, our 48th annual Walditchen Festival in Valdez will be held. August 18th, Board of Commissioners regular meeting will be here at 6 p.m. August 24th through the 26th, NCACC Annual Conference in Wake County. We have all 5 commissioners attending, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. I would remind everyone to spay and neuter your pets, foster or adopt a pet from Burke County Animal Services. As we preach, Gary is out in the audience and pick up more trash in one day than 20 people. Cover your loads to the convenience centers and the landfill, please, and don't litter and pick up your trash. So that being said, I'll turn it back over to Madam Clerk for vacancy announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just before I get into vacancy announcements, I do have a minor correction. The August meeting is on the 15th and not the 18th. That was my error, and I apologize.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Vacancy announcements. We have the following opportunities for citizens to be engaged in county boards and committees: the Adult Care and Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee, the City of Morganton Planning Board and Board of Adjustment for the ETJ, Burke Senior Center Advisory Council, East Burke Senior Center Advisory Board, Council on Aging, the Burke County Board of Health, and the Hickory Regional Planning Commission.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And as we always in the meeting, she goes through those. I will remind everyone that want to get involved. And we see a lot of our 4-H folks here. They're starting young and becoming involved at a very early age, which is very promising. But the adults out there as well, you want to become involved. You've seen a lot of people here involved in a lot of organizations to make this county better. And on the many presentations today, it makes us proud as commissioners. And hopefully we can get more folks involved out in the community to volunteer their time. I can guarantee you, Madam Clerk, you can put them to work. So at this point, gentlemen, closed session is not needed. And so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion we adjourn the meeting, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. That is 4-0, Madam Clerk. Thank you.